Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha. Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasme Shri Gurube Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike. Sharanyatrambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita. Namaste, 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 namo namaha. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche. Om Gunatita Vaksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushottamaha. Jano Janandidam Satyam Uchate. Bhavavandanat Om Bhagavate Shri Swaminarayanaya Namaha. Shri Lakshminarayanaya Namaha. Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 17th of November 2024. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Bhagavan, residing in the heart of each being. We are continuing to examine major concepts in Advaita Vedanta that we need to understand clearly before we progress further in Shri Vivek Chudamani. So to continue from yesterday, we were talking about Pratibhasika Satyam. And in Pratibhasika Satyam, which is the reflected reality, the dream state, Swapna Avastha, represents a subjective reality dependent on the dreamer's mind. So this is a key experience in our life. We all have this experience every day. It's very interesting, it's very fascinating where this all comes from. How it is generated. So you can see I've bolded it here for you. The dream state represents a subjective reality dependent on the dreamer's mind. It's subjective because it's based on one's own content of psychological mind, psychological consciousness. It is a lower order of reality compared to the waking state, Vyavharika Satyam, and is ultimately negated in the realization of Paramarthika Satyam, absolute reality. That's what I was saying before, that the Swapna Avastha pretty much disappears. If and when the Brahman actually is realized, when we move into that dimension of realization, the Swapna Avastha pretty much vanishes. 90% of it, 95% of it vanishes. It is definitely a lower order of reality compared to the waking state. The waking state has much more consistency. There's interacting with all the people in the world who are also in their own waking state, but there's the waking world that everybody sees together. It's fascinating. I mean, there's a big question here. How is it and why is it that the waking world has the kind of reality and consistency that the dream world doesn't have? Why is that? So if both are part of Maya, both are not Paramarthika Satyam, they are some kind of a projection out of Maya. Why is it that the waking state, Jagrata Avastha, has much more consistency, much more commonality than this dream state? I mean, for example, if I'm sitting with 5 people in my room, while I'm awake, they're also awake, we seem to be seeing the same world outside. We see the same world, don't we? See the same world, the same trees, the mountains and rocks and everything else. Or we're driving our car on the road and 100 people are on the road. Everyone is seeing the same road. They're all interacting with each other. They're all in Jagrata Avastha. But if the same 100 people are all dreaming, the Avastha is a dream state. That's true. But the experience is individualized. Isn't this so? The experience is individualized. So why? Why this difference? What is the reason behind this difference? Well, I think what Advaita Vedanta would say is that the Brahman, the one infinite consciousness, is itself projecting itself through its own power of Maya into the multiplicity of infinite number of Jivatma, experiencing its own Anubhav, and the waking state is just another expression of that prism of Mahamaya, that somehow we're Jivatma together through the bodies are experiencing a common reality, and that reality is expressed or it is experienced as a common reality, and that expression of common reality is also another function of Mahamaya. I know that's a very technical and difficult thing to understand right away. All in simpler language, if I can put it in a little simpler language, let's put it this way. If you're watching a movie, right? If you go to a movie theater and you're watching a movie and 50 people are in the movie theater, you're all watching the same movie. But each person's experience of the movie is their own. Isn't it so? But the movie is the same. But the movie is also a projection. The movie has been projected from the projector. It's like that. Mahamaya is projecting, or the Brahman through Mahamaya is projecting the reality. And I'm talking only pure Advaita Vedanta only right now. Is projecting all of the names and forms that we see. This is what we see just right now. What do we see? We see the sky, the moon, the sun. We see the trees. I can see pillows in my room here. I can see, the carpet. I can see my glasses here. I can see so many different objects. This body I can also see. In the mind I can see. So everything, the outside world, this physical body, the subtle body, everything, these are objects of perception. So they're all seen by each Jivatma. But it is a creation that is through the power of Maya, just like the projector is projecting the movie in a theater. Let's assume for a moment it's an IMAX 3D theater. The IMAX 3D theater is, it's a projection, so you can see this vast, you feel like you're actually there, right? But remember, the energy that is going through the projector, the electricity is undifferentiated. But the film in the projector is what's having all of those images, and then they are projected on the screen. The energy is undifferentiated. Without the energy, there is no way to see anything on the screen. Similarly, the energy is Shakti. The Brahman is consciousness itself. It's the intelligence, it's the truth that is directing its own power to project the world. It is called Avarana Shakti, Vikshepa Shakti. It is a projection. But to realize that it is a projection, one needs to turn one's attention to the projector and to the energy within the projection and to the truth that is guiding the energy. Like if I'm sitting in an IMAX theater and if I mistaken that for the reality, then I'm stuck in some illusion. I'm mistaking something that is not the reality. It is just a projection. There is an actual reality somewhere, but that I have to discover. Right? So similarly, if I'm going to discover who I am, what is the original Brahman, my attention needs to be turned away from the entanglements of Jagrata Avastha and Swapna Avastha. If I cannot turn my attention away from them, I will not be able to discover the the source from where this is coming. So when a sadhak begins to awaken from inside, Jnana and Vairagya begin to open beautifully. They just begin to open. Jnani ban jata hai bhakta. Bhakta becomes Jnani, Jnani becomes Bhakta. And in Jnana, Vairagya comes also. So there is so much steadiness, So mind is no longer projecting all these things in the swapna avastha. So energy remains intact, Shakti remains intact. And because that Shakti is intact, it is then used to discover the Atman, Brahmachintan, used for higher connection, for dhyan, for mantra sadhana, all spiritual related sadhana, that same Shakti is utilized for that. And once it is utilized that way, further and further, eventually at some point, the आवरण of Maya breaks. Maya का आवरण निकल जाता है. And when that आवरण of Maya breaks, the Atman, whatever it is, the actual tattva, it begins to reveal itself. Yes. And there's no way to describe that. The person becomes completely still. Shant ho jata hai. You cannot describe. In fact, to try to describe that is to defile that. The description is not the described, as J. Krishnamurti would say. To describe it is to defile it. It can never be described adequately. And anybody who tries to describe it is doing a disservice to it. Anubhav karo iska. Iska, no doubt saints have given some descriptions. It's not like they have not. But that is to guide individuals on that path. That's all. The descriptions are anirvachaniya. See, the tattva is anirvachaniya. The word anirvachaniya comes from Vedanta also, and it is used again and again in the Bhakti Sampradayas also. And Shriji Maharaj uses that word a lot. That this is anirvachaniya. Isko Bani se, isko, through the language we cannot express this thing. It is aparoksha anubhuti. It is an extraordinary Brahmic realization. And that is our destination. We want to reach that ananda. And to reach that ananda, the direct barometer of how much progress we're making is this swapna avastha. How much chaos is going on. In Gujarati we say, swapna avastha ma ketlo ghotalo che, e potane jovu pade. How much mixture is in the swapna avastha, and let it settle down. Swapna avastha is so intensely difficult to transcend. When we go in that avastha, we cannot do anything. We're stuck inside there. So that is why in Jagrat avastha, all the sadhana is done. Manan Chintan is done. Connection with Bhagavan is done. Everything is done in Jagrat avastha. And then the goal is to carry over into Swapna avastha only the murti of Paramatma, Bhagavat murti, and the link to that murti, link to God. That is the only thing that is carried over, not any person, not any story, not any situation. But that's not the case in our minds. Our minds are carrying over so much experience from the waking state. We're carrying over the people that we know, our vasanas, our desires. God knows what is carried over into the Swapna avastha. Just try to do this, that during the waking time, live in the present with great jnana and bhakti and vairagya and dharma and fantastic, beautiful qualities, so that by the time we fall asleep, we are not carrying anything over. But my God, the brain will project all kinds of things. It will not project anything if the complete evolution inside of bhakti and jnana and vairagya has happened during Jagrat avastha. If a sadhak like Sachin, and Sachin is only speaking for Sachin, Sachin is not telling anybody else anything. I'm speaking this only for this mind. That when there is real dharma, jnana, vairagya, bhakti, the four principles of ekantik dharma, if Sachin wants to realize Brahman, Akshara Brahma, I have to have these, dharma, jnana, vairagya, bhakti. But how am I going to get that? Just by saying that? Just by talking about that? No. That's okay. That's the beginning. By resonating with those qualities 100% through recognizing the state in enlightened saints. भगवान के जो बड़े बड़े संत थे उनकी स्थिति को देखना कि इनकी स्थिति क्या है, एंड वही स्थिति मेरी है. I'll give you one simple example, then we'll stop here. Let's say you take a 9th or 10th grade high school student, and that student sees a very, expert level cardiac heart surgeon who does heart transplants and amazing stuff, sees videos and starts learning about it and says, adores that. It's adoration. That, wow, what an amazing person who can do all this. Okay, that's the beginning. But then the student says, that's me. I am that amazing world-class doctor. I am that. Tattvamasi. Thou art that. He says, I am that. Soham. Is he actually that right now? No. But the mind has gotten so lost inside that state that is the only destination. That he goes through high school, goes through college, goes through pre-med, goes through med, goes through MCATs, everything. There's only one destination: to become the topmost heart surgeon. Nothing else. Learns everything, does everything else, but this is the one singular destination. If you have that from childhood without deflection, sometimes kids do that. Sometimes they have that, sometimes in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, they have put a high destination. They're crazy about that particular subject. Or that thing that they want. They want to become an astronaut, or they want to become a great physician. So whatever the goal is, it could be in the material world, spiritual world. Similarly, if Sachin says that I want ekantik sthiti, mujhko ekantik sthiti hi chahiye, jo bhi ho, kuch bhi ho sansar mein, do or die, ye hi chahiye. ये चाहिए ऐसा नहीं, ये ही चाहिए. गुजराती આપણે નથી કહેતા કે ભગવાનનો સાક્ષાત્કાર કરવો છે, but there's a ja, ભગવાનનો જ સાક્ષાત્કાર કરવો. Ja is that big massive qualifier. ભગવાનનો જ સાક્ષાત્કાર કરવો. Then the destination set, then amazing things happen. If Sachin can say, I want to realize God, oh, okay, yeah, just like I'm going to the Axe meet to shop some fruit, meaningless thing. You cannot realize God like that. One has to say, just set the destination. Bhagwan Dheyo Narayano Harihi. That Bhagwan Noj Sakshatkar. The realization of God and only God. Come what may. Doesn't mean you're not doing other things. I have to do my regular duties and whatever I have to do. It's okay. But what is my destination? Mera destination kya hai? And every day I have to ask this question. It's not that simply that I set the destination today, which is the 17th of November, and 3 days from now I said, chalega, let's go back into the old crazy things that I was doing before. That doesn't work like that. You cannot reach that ultimate goal. What is the height of the destination? So the higher the destination, the more there is channeling of this antarik shakti, buddhi shakti, shraddha, all this synchronizes, and you know what happens? The sadhak breaks out of the binding of Jagrat Avastha and Swapna Avastha. And then there's something special happens. I'm taking just one extra 30 seconds here. Something special happens here. That this Shushupti Avastha is also broken. That is amazing. वो जब break होता है ना, when the Shushupti, the Sakshi appears. The Atma Tattva appears right there. So Shriji Maharaj says in Vedaras, Shushuptino Sakshi evoji Atma tena vishe aham panu. Meaning what? The entire Antakarana sinks inside the Atma. The Sakshi appears. I am this. I am the witnessing consciousness in the Sushupti Avastha. Is the Sakshi in the Sushupti Avastha. My goodness, one is no longer... So when that appears, when that is revealed, that is called Turiya Avastha, the fourth state. Then, after that realization of the Atma Brahma Tattva, even when the three avasthas come back, they are coming back from the enlightened state. Those avasthas are not binding the individual. Those avasthas are there, but they're like a dream, but they're also there. it's very hard to explain. It's like Ramakrishna Paramahansa, who comes out of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, comes back into this world. He still sees this world, but then he says he realizes that the entire names and forms and everything is only the Brahman. This is Advaita Vedanta. It's like the person who goes into the jewelry store and then realizes, that everything is gold only. In the beginning, they didn't know that it was all gold. They thought that the earring was different from the toe ring, and different from the bracelet, and different from the necklace, and because of the differences in the forms. But the awakening happens, and all of the names and forms are Brahman, are the one consciousness only, and that is Paramarthika Satyam. So with that, let's stop here for now. Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita. Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Om Durge Durge Rakshini Tha Tha Swaha. Om Shri Durga Arpanamastu. Om Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu.